Oh boy, UFC 326, Max Holloway versus Charles Du Bronx Oliveira 2. The first fight really doesn't count though. It had a weird, I believe it was like a throat injury or something from Charles Oliveira. And it was at 145. It was years ago. And this is the main event. And this fight card low-key is trash. No two ways about it, but this main event is sick. Even though it's not for an undisputed title, it is a huge fight. This is one of the first fights in a little bit that I'm getting like butterflies thinking about. And it's for the BMF belt, which is whatever, really. I mean, it's cool, somewhat, I guess. I don't even think it needs it, but it has it, and it's a gimmick, but that's okay. But none the freaking less, I have a big announcement. My cat is very excited for it. Here, give me a kiss. Oh, boy. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there, front and center, for Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira 2, UFC 326. I will be in Las Vegas, Nevada. I will be in the T-Mobile Arena live, in person, watching this fight. Watching maybe the entire card. I don't know if I'll actually show up for the very first fight. But I will be there, and I will be recording and somewhat vlogging all the cool moments I possibly can get caught on camera and my live reactions to crazy moments happening on this fight card. I'm flying out Thursday. I don't know if this video will come out tomorrow, which will be Wednesday, or today, which is Tuesday. I haven't figured that out yet. I'll figure that out after I'm done recording. But I'm excited. It's a birthday present. Shout out to my father. What a G. Taking me out to Las Vegas and buying me some UFC 326 tickets, man. I was at UFC 317 when Ilya knocked out Charles Oliveira. And it was sad, but I also love Ilya, so that was cool. But UFC live events are one of a kind. It's the best sporting event on the planet by far. I am a bit disappointed that this card is a little lackluster. However, being there live for this main event, a fight that I know will not disappoint no matter the outcome, is pretty awesome. All glory to God for these blessings in my life, man. I'm so blessed for these awesome opportunities and just awesome things I get to enjoy in this life. But let me know in the comments below any specific ideas or content ideas that I can turn my trip into. I doubt, honestly, that I will go to the press conference or weigh-ins. I would like to, but I don't know if it's worth going and like trying to get good seats and running in T-Mobile Arena, because that's how it works. It's free. There's no really interesting people that like are going to say much at the press conference. Oliveira, he speaks Portuguese. He don't even speak in English. Holloway, he's always like, we'll find out that day night, baby. You know, classic Holloway. And then the weigh-ins, it's the same thing. It's like, is it really worth going to all the trouble just to go watch the guy stand on the scale, you know? So I don't know if I'll be going to that, but if I do, I will for sure film some content. But my initial idea for when I get back next week for a video is I'm just going to record as much cool stuff as I can. I have like 32 subscribers. Nobody watches my channel, so like and subscribe. So I don't really want to necessarily vlog, but I'm going to record a bunch of stuff, and I'll come back and I'll play like what I recorded, give some commentary over it. But if y'all have any ideas that you want to see next week when I get back, let me know in the comments below so I can make sure I get that caught on camera this week when I am there live. I'm so excited. But that's the big announcement that all 32 subscribers have been waiting for. I have no reoccurring viewers, I don't think. But who knows? Maybe this will blow me up. You never freaking know, man. But in today's video, I will be giving my picks and predictions for UFC 326. Trash card, low-key, but the main event's awesome, and it's going to be fun to talk about. So we're going to start from the very bottom. Oh, crap. I forgot to click on it. We're going to start with the very first fight of the night. And we're going to make the prelims kind of quick because I don't really think anybody cares about the prelims all that much. So we're going to kind of go through them quick so we can get to the main card and especially that main event. Interesting co-main event as well, though. I'm excited for that fight. I'm a fan of both guys. I am a hardcore, though. I'm no casual. So, you know how it is, man. Luke Fernandez making his UFC debut, coming off Dana White Contender Series with a pretty good knockout. Decent fighter, decent grappling, has a few submissions on his records, only 6 fights in his pro MMA career, taking on Rodolfo Pilato. Hasn't had the best outcomes in the UFC, but I will be taking Rodolfo Pilato. I was watching Luke Fernandez fight, and he's just really plotty. Not to say Rodolfo Pilato's some athletic mastermind or anything, but Fernandez very basic. He's just somewhat athletic and fought his way up to being in the light heavyweight division. I just think Pilato has way more to offer on the feet. I think he'll be able to avoid the big shots from Fernandez. He's pretty slow. And even though, Pilato's not, a speed demon, but he's faster than Fernandez. And I think on the ground, too, I think Fernandez just looked good because he was mainly fighting bums, if we're being honest. I don't think he's just going to be able to ragdoll Rodolfo Pilato. So I think Rodolfo Pilato is going to score himself a finish here in the second round. Yeah. Fernandez, I don't think he's been outside the first round. And I don't think he's going to be able to finish Pilato. I think he's a level above him. He's fought in the UFC. Kept it close with Jimmy Crute. That was like a draw. And, Jimmy Crute's not amazing, but light heavyweight, that's not bad comp. Luke Fernandez, nothing impressive prospect-wise for him. So I'm going to go safe with the UFC veteran and Rodolfo Pilato. Moving on up the card to Zhang Yang Li and Gaston Bolanos. An Ilia Topuria ripoff from Peru, taking on a very mid-South Korean. Gaston Bolanos, not a bad fighter, has a horrible ground game. His boxing's pretty decent, kind of powerful, but he lost 3 in a row in Bellator before he got signed to the UFC, so why'd they sign him in the first place, I could not tell you. But he's slow, very plotty, no movement whatsoever. Zhang Yang Li is not that great either. But he's fast. He's athletic. He throws shots straight down the pipe. I think this could be an entertaining fight, though, because both these guys are usually willing to get in there and trade. But I'm going to go with Zhang Yang Li. I always, in a fight like this, when they're pretty low level, I always err to the side of the guy throwing down the middle against a slower guy that likes to loop punches a lot together in combination. I think as long as Zhang Yang Li doesn't get too scrappy and just start going hook for hook with Gaston, I think his shots will land there quicker, get there faster. So I'm going to go with the Zhang Yang Li finish in the first round. I think they're just going to kind of go out there and just start throwing randomly. It's gonna look cool, but it's going to be low level skill wise. We talked about that in yesterday's, or whatever day I made that video, about UFC Mexico City. And this is a low level fight. Horrible fight, really. I don't think either of these guys should be in the UFC. And also, Bolanos' grappling is horrible. I don't think Lee's is anything to write home about, but I guarantee you, I think he has a couple submissions on his record. I guarantee it, if this fight gets to the ground, he's going to be better than Bolanos. So, maybe he gets it to the ground as well and wins there. But I'm going to go with the Zhang. I don't think he gets out of the first round. Both these guys just kind of go out there and you're just like, ah! They just spaz out of control. So, yeah, I think Zhang Yang Li is going to get this done. Moving on up the card to a light heavyweight bout between Rafael Tobias and DR Nogazai. DR Nogazai, plotty man's plotty. You know what I mean? There's no arch in that foot. He does not get on those toes. He stands flat-footed and goes 1-2, 1-2 with his feet, not even with his hands. He's slow, kind of out of shape. Lost to Brendan Ribeiro by Kimura, I believe. Horrible ground game. Rafael Tobias, pretty strong grappler. Has a good amount of submission finishes on his record. That's not his real record. This is his UFC debut. He's somewhat athletic, too. He's very physical as well. I think this is he grabs a body lock, easy trip, or just drags this DR Nogazai down to the ground and gets a submission victory. DR has no ground game whatsoever. I'm going to go with a second round submission out of Rafael, because DR in the first round is okay because he's not super slow and he's a decent kickboxer, so maybe he keeps it at range. But his takedown defense is horrible. I don't even think he really knows or understands how to get underhooks. So I'm going to go with Rafael Tobias getting it done by submission in the second round in his UFC debut. Moving on to the final fight of the early prelims. This is low-key not a bad fight. Sumu Darji's not fantastic, but he's athletic. He's fun to watch. Very spazzy guy himself. Has has kind of decent wrestling, but also horrible at grappling, if that makes sense. They always talk about how powerful this guy is on commentary. I don't think he has a knockout in the UFC, I think he only has like 4 or 5 UFC fights. I don't think he's anything to write home about. Jesus Aguilar, though, kind of an underrated flyweight. He's short and stout, and he sure does let it all. He has a 9.5-inch reach advantage. That's bad math. That's right math. But I like his boxing on the feet. He knows how to use his short little T-Rex arms and get in close and put together combinations. Not a bad grappler either. Has had a few submission wins here recently. I like his grappling advantage in this fight, and I also like his ability to get in and out of the pocket against Sumar Darji and make Sumar Darji overswing and miss. So I'm going to go with Jesus Aguilar. I'm going to go decision. I think Sumar Darji is going to be hard to finish. I think this could be a decent flyweight fight, though. Both guys are athletic, quick, fast. I just think Jesus Aguilar is way more well-rounded, more finishing ability as well. So I don't know if he'll get the finish. It's flyweight, even though he has a good amount of finishes in the UFC. But I'm going to go Jesus Aguilar by decision here on the early prelims. Moving on up the card to Cody Durden and Naim Jargal Timbernero. Yeah, he's from Mongolia. Mongolia? Welcome to Shitty Walk, I made the quarter piece. Mongolia? This guy sucks. He's horrible, man. He lost in the UFC to, I think his name's Carlos Hernandez. I don't even think he's in the UFC anymore. He won on the road to UFC, and he was honestly getting pieced up on the feet against a guy. I think he ended up submitting him. He's horrible, though. He overswings. He's actually pretty slow for flyweight. No technical ability really anywhere. He just kind of, he's one of those, look, you see the tattoos. He thinks he's, in the Mongolia, Yakuza, the street gangs. But he sucks. He's a trash can. And this is going to be a classic Cody Durden win, okay? I think he's on, a 4-fight losing streak. This is going to be a classic Cody Durden put-it-on-him performance. He's going to win by finish late in the 3rd round. He's just going to put it on him, okay? He's going to do a Cody Durden, put it on him. He's going to blast double leg Naim Jargal when he overswings. And he's going to piece him up on the feet, too. Cody Durden's not a bad guy on the feet, either. He's going to have the speed advantage. He's just better everywhere. Much more well-rounded. UFC veteran. Again, another guy that should not be in the UFC is fighting on the prelims of a numbered event. Pitiful, poor, awful, disgusting. And he's from Mongolia, though. So this is classic Cody Durden, though. Blast double, grind against the cage, beat him up on the ground, and land some good shots on the feet. And is going to finish him late in the 3rd round by TKO. This is going to be a classic Cody Durden. He's going to get his hand raised, and he's going to go, yeah! And he's going to be pumped. But in reality, this guy is a trash can. But Cody Durden, man. Cody Durden. This is going to be a classic Cody Durden, put him on a performance. Cody Durden, put him on him. Moving on up the card. Again, this Alberto guy should not be in the UFC. I don't think Ricky Turcios should be in the UFC exactly. But I'm picking Ricky Turcios here. Alberto Montez, he's a ground guy. Not much to offer on the feet. He has good submissions, but not good grappling. At all. Really. Ricky Turcios, not a bad grappler himself. Pretty proficient in jiu-jitsu, at least for low level. He also has the lighter man skill coming up from bantamweight. I think he'll have a significant speed advantage. And he's moving up to featherweight. I think that'll even add to his already pretty great gas tank. That's about the only weapon he has is cardio. And pretty horrible sloppy 1-2s down the pipe. But Alberto Montez, I don't think he'll be able to take Turcios down. I don't think he'll be able to keep up with the pace. I think Turcios is just going to wear on him and outpace him and get a decision win here. I'm not picking a finish because Montez, he has a strong jawline. I'll give him that. He ranks pretty high on the PSL scale, I'd guess. So, he looks to be a bone smasher. Respect there. Ricky Turcios, you could use a course from Clavicular, my friend. You're not kind of low on that PSL scale, my friend. Nonetheless, though, I'm going Ricky Turcios here. I'm a Ricky Turcios hater, but I'm even going to pick him here. I don't think he's good. Again, low level. Alberto Montez was getting beat up and out-wrestled in the first round of his Contender Series fight and then pulled off a submission. Like I said, good submissions. So, like, it went, oh my gosh. He has the same tattoo on his forearm that I have on my bicep. Dang it! I hate having the same tattoo as people. Ricky Turcios, by cardio, by decision. Moving on up the card to Dante Johnson and Cody Brundage, the Brundler. I feel so bad for Cody Brundage. I like the guy. He's a good guy. He's a man of God. He's not good, though. He's just not. He can grime up fights. He did okay against Cam Ralston a few moments in the first round. This quick turnaround, though, got pretty badly beat up and finished against Ralston. Also lost to Cedriques Dumas, and Dante Johnson made very easy work of Cedriques, the criminal, Dumas, in his UFC debut. He's shorter for middleweight, but he's very strong, physical. He's fast. He moves well for his frame. Solid grappler and packs a punch on the feet. I think this is a bad recipe for Cody Brundage because Dante Johnson is just kind of like a better Cody Brundage, like a shorter, better Cody Brundage. He uses his physicality, much more power on the feet, even though like he doesn't necessarily have like special abilities on the feet with his stand-up or anything. And he's just a more athletic guy. He's going to be quicker, he's going to be stronger, faster, more powerful, better grappler. I think, maybe not overall, but I think his physicality be too much. And he seems to pace himself pretty well for like a kind of a explosivity. He's not, well, yeah, kind of like Bruno Ferreira. He's kind of like Bruno Ferreira, who we'll talk about later. Just a bit different. I'm going Dante Johnson here. He's just much more athletic. I just don't think Cody can keep up with this guy. And just skill-wise, I think he's better. Maybe not all well-roundedly the better grappler. Cody Brundage is no slouch on the ground necessarily, but Cody Brundage can't really get takedowns. Like, he wasn't able to do much against Ralston in that area. And on the feet, I think Johnson was just, he may not hit him a lot, but when he hits him, I think he's going to hurt him. Going Dante Johnson by finish. No, I'm going to go decision. Kind of a, Cody Brundage will muck it up. Brundage will muck a suck up. You know what I'm saying? He'll muck it up, man. Cody Garbrandt. Cody No Love Garbrandt. Back again. Taking on Zhao Long. Thank you, UFC, for giving Cody Brundage. Gosh dang it, Cody freaking Brundage. Call. Just taking care of some business. I was talking to Dana, actually. Hey kid, we'll talk about your tickets Tuesday, all right? We'll talk about it Tuesday. And cuz I got to go to the Red Rocks and gamble with Steiny. All right? So we'll talk about it Tuesday. So, I just went ahead and said, "Look here, Dana. All right, bald man. I'll get the tickets myself, dude. I want to go. I want to celebrate my birthday and watch the fights live in Las Vegas, bro. That's it." I was like, "You got to gamble with Steiny. You got to gamble with Steiny, dude." Oh, he's pumped about the Iran war too, Steiny. The UFC is too. If you know. Cody Garbrandt's gonna get a freaking all-time performance here against Zhao Long. All right, listen. Cody Garbrandt. This is one of those fights he's gonna kind of grime it up. He's gonna style. He'll hit a couple. He'll do the like you missed, and he's gonna shuffle, hit the running man, cause he's just better than Zhao Long. He's probably a better grappler. I guarantee it. At some point he will use it in this fight. And look, I haven't seen Zhao Long fight. I think he lost to Kong Lee. Road to the UFC guy. From China, so most likely his grappling's not that good, and he's just kind of an athletic dude. I'm taking Cody Garbrandt, man. All right, I'm going to be there. I love Cody Garbrandt. I still believe in the title run. It's still happening. Who does that to Ione Barcelos? Okay, I know he lost, but who loses that graciously against Ione Barcelos. He's right there. Cody. How did he beat Dominic Cruz in Dominic? Oh my gosh. But I seriously do think Cody Garbrandt is going to kind of style for a little bit on Xiaolong and then win a decision. I think that's what's going to happen. I think a finish is for sure available for Cody, but I just can't pick a finish. We haven't seen him since Ione. But this is one of those that Cody's just going to win somehow. Xiaolong is not good. Okay, he's much better than, who was it he most recently beat? Trevin Giles. And look, Cody had moments against Figueiredo and Barcelos. Like, he still has some ability in there. He always has. He's Cody Garbrandt. He's Cody No Chin Garbrandt, man. I love Cody freaking Garbrandt too, dude. He's still one of my favorite fighters. He's going to win this, though, by decision, I promise, okay? Moving on up the card to Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop, and Bruno Ferreira, the Hulk. These guys have fought before. Bruno Ferreira brutally chinned Gregory Rodriguez. Bruno Ferreira coming off a win against Marvin Vettori. And Bruno Ferreira, I like Bruno Ferreira. I like Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez as well. I rewatched the first fight, and RoboCop has gotten a lot better. He moves so much better. His timing on his counters are so much better. And the guy beat Roman Kopylov in his last outing pretty convincingly. He mixes up the grappling much better now. And Bruno, he's a solid fighter, but he's very one-dimensional, man. Not a great jab. Mixes in a low leg kick here and there. He's just all power. And that's kind of how RoboCop fought for a little bit. And he got chinned by Ferreira. But I think RoboCop's gotten a lot better. I think he learned from that loss against Cannonier. Beat Christian Leroy Duncan, which is aged fantastically. Fought much higher level competition than Ferreira. I mean, Ferreira's best win is Marvin Vettori. And besides that, besides Gregory, the wins aren't that crazy from Ferreira. I think Rodriguez is the better overall grappler as well. And like I said, he's more well-rounded, mixes it in better. And on the feet, I think he's got technically a lot better. Ferreira's the same guy that beat Rodriguez, and I think Rodriguez has leveled up since then, and I think he's going to win this fight. I think his counters are much smoother, much better timing, moves around a lot better, better cardio. It's still not great cardio, but it's better than it used to be, and I think he's just a better fighter now. And Ferreira, still one-dimensional, hasn't leveled up any. RoboCop has. I think this is Rodriguez's fight to lose. He could get chinned very easily, but I also think he could chin Ferreira, and I think he's gonna. He mixes in the high kicks a lot more now, and I think his timing has gotten so much better, and I think it's easy to time Bruno Ferreira, and I think Gregory Rodriguez is going to chin Bruno Ferreira in the first round. Moving on up the card, this fight's hilarious, man. This fight's freaking hilarious, dog. Drew Dober. He usually freaking beats a guy like Michael Johnson. I'm not going to say it, but if you're a Drew Dober connoisseur, if you enjoy UFC, if you know ball, you know Drew Dober usually wins these fights. But I think that he's gotten so much more chinnier, slowed down a lot, was like on a 4-fight skid until beating Kyle Prepolek. All right. Not much to write home about. Michael Johnson, honestly, kind of looks like he's gotten a second wind in his career. He's going to have the speed advantage. He's going to have the technical boxing advantage. He's going to have the power advantage. I'm going Michael Johnson. Okay, I think this is going to be a good scrap. I think Drew Dober's going to go in there and try to take Michael Johnson's head off because he's black. And we know Drew Dober, if you're his opponent and you're black, he wins. Look at his record. It's not a racist thing. That's just what it is. That's the truth of the matter. But I think that streak ends here. I think our melanin-colored friend, Michael Johnson, he's going to get it done. I think he's going to school Drew Dober. Recently schooled Daniel Zellhuber. We've seen what King Green just did to Daniel Zellhuber. So, yeah, I think Michael Johnson, this fight's going to be contested on the feet, faster, more powerful, sharper, better counters. This is a Michael Johnson finish all day long. Michael Johnson by KO. Moving on up the card to Rob Font and Raul Rosas Jr. I really was kind of leaning Raul for a while. Then I was looking at the guys he really was beating because he is a good grappler. these guys are nowhere near Rob Font. Rob Font can finish people. Knocked out Adrian Yanez. Close fight with Jean Matsumoto. Recently lost to David Martinez. Had a little grappling qualms there, but Raul Rosas Jr. is not David Martinez. He's not fast. He's not physical like that. I mean, he fights physical, but I mean, look at him, man. Look at Chihuahuas. Chihuahuas. All right. Hell, disgusting. I'm going Rob Font. I think Raul is going to get schooled on the feet. He's going to take too much damage early. I think Rob Font is just going to nail him with jabs. And Rob Font's a vet of the game. He has good grappling defense. He does. It's not, like, phenomenal. But he'll do enough damage on the feet to, I think, easily defend the takedowns of Raul Rosas Jr. I don't think he gets him down to the ground. And I think Rob Font finishes Raul Rosas Jr. I think the skill level on the feet is way, way, way too separated. This is way too much for Raul Rosas this early in his career. He's still so young, and he's a good grappler, but on the feet, very, very vulnerable. I think Rob Font will also have even in his older age, will have a significant speed advantage, especially with the hands. I'm going Rob Font by finish. I don't see Raul being able to get this fight down to the ground easily at all. And even if he does, Rob Font, again, he's been in there with some of the best, like he's been in there with top-tier bantamweights in their prime, and he's beat a lot of them. And he's been able to stuff takedowns somewhat. Jean Matsumoto kind of grimed it up. I believe that's who it was, right? David Martinez had some success, but Rob Font also got up from those. Raul Rosas Jr., he's a very sticky grappler, though. He's a very sticky grappler, so it could be dangerous for Rob Font if Raul Rosas Jr. gets it there early in the first round. But again, on the feet, Rob Font's going to be so much sharper and slicker. I think he just deals damage on the feet. Rob Font by finish. Moving on to the co-main event, I'm very excited about this fight. I think this is a great middleweight matchup. Caio Borralho was on a bit of a tear at middleweight, not fighting the craziest guys. What was his best win before Imavov? Crap, who was it? Hold on. Let me look this up. Let's talk about Reinier de Ridder, though. Reinier de Ridder, you look at his record. Now, he does have the split win against Robert Whittaker. He does have that split win there. And Robert Whittaker, grappling-wise, size-wise, Reinier de Ridder was just able to overpower him and didn't have to use as much energy. And Whittaker, while he's a good wrestler, transition and like scramble-wise, not that great. And Reinier was just able to kind of strangle and hold him there. Caio Borralho, at this point, I think moves around better than Robert Whittaker. I think he's better than Robert Whittaker. If you compare the Robert Whittaker that fought RDR, I think Caio Borralho is better than him. He's very good on the ground, too. And I think he's underrated on the feet. He barely lost to Nasruddin Imavov, all right? And Imavov's very good. Reinier de Ridder, who'd he beat? Gerald Mearshard. Easy. Kevin Holland. Easy. Bo Nickel. Easy. Then he gets a split decision win over Robert Whittaker, and he won. And I thought he won that fight, but it's very close. It was very close. And Robert Whittaker, he just didn't look like the same guy. I think Caio Borralho wins this, man. I really do. I don't think it's going to be easy for Reinier to just stick himself upon Caio Borralho. I think his scrambles and transitions are very good. He's a high-level jiu-jitsu guy as well. I don't think Reinier will be able to submit Caio. And I think Caio has a very good jab, and I like the way he fights, very rangy. And he's like bigger than Whittaker too, so he has more of that range. And I think in the octagon, he'll be able to move around, keep a good pace, and make it hard for RDR to get a hold of him. And I don't think, like, the way, like, Borralho, he has that wide stance, I don't think Reinier is just going to be able to initiate the clinch positions, land those knees up close. Oh, yeah, Borralho beat Jared Cannonier. It's a pretty good win. Beat Abus Magomedov. Paul Craig's not really impressive. I know Rainier's weird, but he just lost to Brandon Allen. And I think Borralho would make Brandon Allen look horrible. And I know, maybe he fought too soon. He was sick. whatnot. But honestly, he's kind of mentally weak. And I think he could get frustrated not being able to get a hold of Kaio early. I think Kaio will be able to outplace him. I think he has a significant speed advantage. I think he's going to chew up Rainer's legs with the kicks. I think he's going to mix up the kicks well. He has sharp, quick kicks, so I think it'll be hard for Rainer to grab like body kicks, high kicks, and take him to the ground. I think on the feet, Rainer's at a huge disadvantage here against Kaio, and the difference is like between him and Whitaker. Whitaker's a smaller guy. Not as powerful as Borralho either. He's somewhat not crazy knockout power, but he has some pop on his shots. I'm going Kyle Borralho by decision. I think this will be close. This is 3 rounds. I think Rainer will probably get around in there, muck it up. But in like 3 rounds does kind of bode well for Rainer, but it kind of bodes well for Kaio too, because he'll be able to keep up a much faster pace for 3 rounds compared to 5. And I think if he's smart, he's going to fight quick. He'll be in and out. And I think he'll be able to avoid the clinch and takedown positions that Rainer de Ritter uses so effectively. And again, on the feet, Rainer de Ritter, he can land some weird, awkward stuff and deal damage. But I think Borralho's underrated. Honestly, I think he's a good fighter. I think he's really good. I think he's high level. So I'm going Kyle Borralho here, mainly due to the speed and his ability to hold his own on the ground with de Ritter. He's stronger than Whitaker. Maybe that may be going too far. Well, I don't know. Maybe. But he's not the biggest middleweight in the world either. But I think Borralho's jiu-jitsu, I think, is good enough. Even in scrambles and transitions, he could catch de Ritter on the ground with the sub. So I just see I think it's more likely that Borralho is able to avoid what Rainer does so well and win this by a narrow decision. But I think he could go out there and have a very good performance as well. I just don't think Rainer's going to have success getting a hold of Kaio. I think he's going to make it very difficult for him to do it. Kaio's a smart fighter, too. He is. I think that's his best thing, honestly. So, yeah, Kyle Borralho by decision. Moving to the main event of the evening for the BMF belt, the gimmicks of all gimmicks. Max Holloway and Charles do Bronx Oliveira. Let's talk about Max Holloway. Besides Ilia Topuria, probably the best boxer in the UFC. One of the best fighters of all time, arguably top 10. Second, one of the best featherweights to ever do it, right? He is. Recently beat Dustin Poirier. That was a shell of Poirier. It wasn't necessarily a shell, but if we're being honest, he was not the same Poirier. But Holloway looked very good. Destroyed Justin Gaethje, made it look easy. Knockout lost Ilia Topuria, but who doesn't take a knockout lost Ilia Topuria? I watched Charles Oliveira get slept by him live. On the feet, Max does have a significant advantage. Charles is, I think his striking gets underrated. I think he's a wild man and he does get caught a lot. All right. And Max at 155, I think, does have a little more pop in his shot, but I don't think he can put away Charles Oliveira. Now, he for sure could outstrike him on the feet the entire time and have great takedown defense, but let's think about Holloway's record. This is interesting to me. Who has he fought that is lengthier than him or like same amount of lengthiness? Pretty much the same height. I would guess they'd be about the exact same. Oliveira has a significant reach advantage. Who has Holloway fought that is a better grappler than Charles Oliveira? No one. Frankie Edgar, easy to pop shot and avoid even the entries of Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar, not pooping on him at all. Brian Ortega. Well, how good is Brian Ortega, okay? Not the best wrestling, good jiu-jitsu guy, though. Who has he fought that he does not have the length advantage against? Name it. I don't think you can. Especially in like the prime of Holloway's career where he's had the most success. Charles Oliveira has that length. He's going to have the physicality advantage. Not necessarily much bigger than Max, but he's going to be bigger. by far the best grappler overall that he's fought. Oliveira's wrestling looked phenomenal against Mateusz Gamrot. And now Gamrot, his record hasn't aged that well. Took a loss to Dan Hooker, and then you see what BSD and Sarukian do to Dan Hooker. But takedown defense-wise and like chain wrestling and scramble, that's Gamrot's area. And Charles Oliveira absolutely dominated him there. His takedowns looked beautiful, and he's always a massive finishing threat on the ground. Now, we haven't seen Holloway tested against a grappler like Oliveira. We just haven't. And while it's very plausible, because Max does have good takedown defense, got right up when pretty much every time Volk took him down in the trilogy. But Volk's a good grappler, not like he's not like insanely good at getting control in landing damage, or he's not even a submission threat like whatsoever. Charles Oliveira has phenomenal control on the ground and is probably the biggest submission threat in UFC history. On the feet, Holloway does, again, have the advantage clearly. Oliveira, though, like I said, he's lengthier than, like Dustin and Justin. Max fought them at 155. He's a bit rangier than them. Like, they're the more dense, like, muscular guys. But Holloway's pretty much the same size. Oliveira here is going to be the lengthier guy. I think that is going to cause a lot of problems for Holloway. I don't think his combinations will land as accurate against a guy like Oliveira, especially if he's using those kicks up the middle in any sort of kicking game. I don't think it will be as good as what we've seen from Holloway on the feet. It's going to be great because Holloway's probably second best boxer in UFC history, but I don't think he will be able to deal enough damage on the feet to Charles Oliveira and do enough to prevent himself from getting taken down by Charles Oliveira. And I don't think he can finish Charles Oliveira. I think Charles Oliveira can finish Max Holloway. I think Charles Oliveira, you could argue, I think he is more powerful than Gaethje. And arguably maybe more powerful than Poirier. In the wide variety of strikes he throws, even though Holloway is the better overall striker, no doubt about it. And the wrestling. And while Holloway's takedown defense could hold up most of this fight, what happens when Charles gets him down? I don't think Holloway is going to be able to get up that easy. And when's the last time we've seen Holloway be threatened with ground and pound in submissions? I mean, of course, Ortega, but he was piecing up Ortega on the feet so much. Like, honestly, I don't even remember that fight and what all happened. So I shouldn't mention that all that much. But it was 145 Brian Ortega. That is nowhere near the level of 155-pound Charles "Du Bronx" Oliveira. I'm going Charles Oliveira. I'm not picking a way to win, but I'm going Charles Oliveira. I don't think Max can finish him. And I think Oliveira can finish him and hurt Holloway. And we've seen, like, Dustin cracked Holloway to Poirier, which sleeps everybody, but he slept Holloway. I feel like at 155, even though his chin will still be amazing, he will take more visible damage just because those guys hit a lot harder. And who was the hardest hitting 145er he fought? Maybe Arnold Allen? You know what I mean? Charles Oliveira hits hard, is the worst striker, but has a great Muay Thai kicking game. He's going to have the reach advantage. And while I think Oliveira will still outstrike him Holloway will still outstrike him overall, I don't think, like, his strike accuracy is usually off the charts. I don't think that's going to be the situation here. I don't think it'll be as easy for him to land as effectively against Oliveira. He'll land effectively, but not as effectively as he normally does in all of his fights except for Volk and Topuria. Even though, like, he landed really good against both those guys. So, I'm going Charles Oliveira. mainly because of the finishing ability. And I don't know if this goes to decision, it probably is Holloway. But I think the grappling of Oliveira and the finishing ability is going to be the big difference here. And the big worry I have is Oliveira going out there not grappling very much because it's the stupid BMF belt. But Oliveira always wants to win no matter what. And his grappling is so entertaining. So I really don't think that'll go through his head that much. I sure hope not. And I think on the feet, like Holloway, I think it'd be easy for Oliveira to steal some rounds. I think he can rock Holloway and do more damage overall than Holloway. And I know Oliveira will get cracked a lot and fall down. But I think that's going to happen less in this fight because Holloway, while he does pack more power at 155, is still not that crazy powerful. We seen that happen to Oliveira against Poirier, Makhachev. Well, let's say the ones he won at least. He got rocked against Gaethje and Poirier, but I'd say they're a good amount more powerful than Holloway. Not better strikers, but power-wise, they are. And then, of course, he got rocked by Ilya, of course, and Makhachev. And Makhachev's pretty powerful. And I honestly think Oliveira's kind of gotten better since all those fights, really. I think there's a good chance this is kind of one of the best versions of Oliveira we've seen after that amazing performance against Gamrot. So I'm going Charles Oliveira. I think he has more ways to win. And I think, Holloway could very easily win this fight on the cards, just outstriking Oliveira. But I don't think it's going to be that easy. I think the favor fortunes Charles the Bronx Oliveira. That's it for today's video, guys. I'm so pumped for this fight. I can't wait to be there live for this. It's going to be freaking nuts. Let me know in the comments below what kind of content you want to see me make as I attend UFC 326, Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira live. Please like this video, and if you enjoyed it, please subscribe. Seen All MMA. This video will either release today or tomorrow, and there is another one in the works. So don't y'all worry about that. But anyways, if you watched it this far, I appreciate you so much, and I love you. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And as always, Christ is King. I'll see y'all later.